We got the halving upon us in, let's see here, 156 days. We're about around 5 months out for the next Bitcoin halving. To explain this real quick in layman's terms, Bitcoin has a supply of 21 million. And when miners solve a block, which is basically it being transacted, I'm explaining this in layman's terms, they're rewarded with Bitcoin, therefore flooding the market with Bitcoin. Right? It has a cap, though. It's not infinite like the US dollar. So when there's a halving, their reward is now cut in half. It happens every 4 years. There's a supply and demand issue. Bitcoin goes surging. Altcoins follow. They lag behind sometimes, and they take off. So there's an opportunity every 4 years. It moves in that cycle. It does not care what your opinion is, although everyone just tries to speak it into existence that it's going to just keep going and justify buying the top and FOMO, but they weren't here when we were dropping, right? This is all I've been buying this whole time. The thing is, I just don't look at it. I use Coinbase. I set it to auto invest a couple $100 a month, and I uninstall it. I don't even notice it coming out of my bank. So at this point, though, I really need to be timing heavier entries because I did not expect it to run so hard. The thing's, nearly halfway recovered already. It's also funny when you have, Time Magazine back in, what was that, the 2012 halving? It had shot up from like $13 to 1,000, 1,200, I think. And then it dropped to 200, and they talked about how it was done and it was just a phase, right? There's always articles. They're just clickbait, right? One of my friends was talking about how the Time Magazine, was it Time Magazine? I don't know who it was. They were talking about how Bitcoin's done and equities would have been better because SPY beat it just here. Yeah, well, what if we went back to 2017 when it was like $400 and then went to 70,000? SPY's never going to do that. SPY will never beat this. No growth fund's ever going to beat this either. It's not going to happen. Maybe NVIDIA, maybe. Those are just people that are upset that they missed out and they don't understand it. So maybe you could take the time instead of getting drunk on the weekend to understand this stuff. That's my hobby, is identifying opportunities inside the market, not just with crypto. That's like 1% of it, but in the equity space, the fixed income space, and outside of there, real estate. I timed it perfectly this time around because that's my hobby. My hobby has benefits. So, and everyone used to judge me over Bitcoin and make fun of me. And it's like, what's your hobby? Watching Netflix? I'm sure that does a lot for you. So I like to throw it in their face. I keep it fun. I banter whenever Bitcoin is in its halving cycle and it rips. So everyone makes fun of it on the way down. Then they get angry, and you'll see all the older guys in the older hedge fund managers and Buffett bashing it. You're just mad you missed out, right? And then when it's too late, almost, when the institutions are now going to adopt it, then they'll get in. So let's take a look at the chart this way, right? It's easy to make fun of it when you have this type of chart because when it runs up hard, it's going to skew the chart. This used to look like this before this existed. This went to the top of the chart, right? Again, let's fix it. Now it's a little bit harder to make fun of, isn't it? Going back to 2015, all the way to now. Really, it's not an investment. $279, and we're at what? Around 36,000 right now. So the next halving's coming. I'm preparing. Altcoins, I'm going to be in for a short period. I'm going to use them like a paper towel, wash my hands, and throw them away. They usually lag a couple months after Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the ones I'm really betting on here. Bitcoin's the safest in my opinion. Ethereum's going to run way harder. And then I'm betting on some altcoins that are not inflationary, that are both inflationary and deflationary, or deflationary, which that's going to be a separate video. So I can't wait for this. Bitcoin moves in a 4-year cycle. Again, guys, to wrap this video up, every 4 years there's a halving. Before we get off here, I wanted to compare this to the US dollar. Let's take a look at this. This is Bitcoin. This is the US dollar, money sign DXY. We can see during COVID when they cut interest rates, the dollar went down. Bitcoin also had a halving and it surged. All right. US dollar candlesticks, Bitcoin candlesticks, they ran inverse. Right. This pink line is Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit easier. Move this here. Okay. The pink is Bitcoin. The candlesticks are the US dollar. US dollar dipped, Bitcoin ripped. US dollar ripped, Bitcoin dipped. Okay? And this time around, what's about to happen? We're about to cut interest rates in 2024, just like we did in 2020. There's also going to be a Bitcoin halving in 2024, just like there was in 2020. Now, we don't have $1,200 checks to throw in Bitcoin and altcoins, but institutions may be buying the Bitcoin spot ETF. BlackRock's in line for this. Fidelity, a lot of the big boys are. It's supposed to be, I think it is in January. Don't quote me on this and then come bash me in the comments. I don't know. I think it's in January when the Bitcoin spot ETF is up for either approval or denial. And they've been making headway in the crypto space when it comes to how the government deals with it for a while now. And I expect the Bitcoin spot ETF to be approved. And if it's not approved, great, another buying opportunity for the Bitcoin halving and the US dollar falling, right? So keep Bitcoin on your, keep your eyes peeled for Bitcoin around April. Usually when there's a Bitcoin halving, like let's just take a look at this here before I wrap this video up. Where was the halving? It was in May. Let's dissect this. Right here. April, May. Right here. This was the Bitcoin halving. That drop right there was the COVID crash. Right here was the Bitcoin halving. We were around 9,000 and we shot up. I remember it hitting 3,200. Chart doesn't reflect that. It shows 4,200. It was running flat for a long time. Nearly a year it ran flat. And it was just going down the whole time, so it really messed your morale up. You thought you were going to finally run and, and then up back to reality. It's just dropping. But when you know something's always going to be around, if you believe that, you always want to take your feelings and your emotions into consideration because maybe they're telling you something like, hey, let's say we're in the equity space. This company's probably going to go bankrupt. My stomach's turning buying it. Well, it probably should turn because that's probably a bad decision. Well, with Bitcoin, we knew there was a halving coming, and the US dollar was also falling. So to buy it and watch it go down and keep buying it doesn't feel good, but I have to act like a robot. And again, that's why I talked about Coinbase auto-investing a couple $100 every month, and you can set it up to auto-invest and uninstall it. It's too late now. Now it's running. I'm really green. I started buying all over in here. This whole time I've been buying. I had to turn it off. I'm hoping for a pullback. We may just run in for anticipation for the Bitcoin spot ETF and temporarily peel off. But what is it going to do? Run up to 45 or 50,000, then peel back to 40? Is now the buying? I don't know. All I know is it's probably going to go a lot higher based off previous halving cycles. So, but going back, because I'm getting off topic here, we had a halving in May 2020, and it took a while. It slowly ticked up. May, June, July, August, September, and we really started to push. We didn't even push up that much. We went up like, what, $3,500? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then it really started to take off. And it dipped like it does every time and had another high again. And that would have been an out right there. Actually, I'm pretty sure there was a shooting star there. We can go back. There it is. No, on another chart I had, I don't know what time frame that was. There was a shooting star at the top. Either way, I can't wait for this. I am very, very excited for this Bitcoin halving. And Ethereum and Bitcoin are my biggest holdings. And I'm going to treat it like a paper towel. No, I'm not going to hold it through the whole thing and then let it fall again because it's coming down. Why would you do that? The only reason you would hold is if you don't understand the halving cycle. It's going to come down. Why wouldn't you sell here and buy like quintuple the amount down here, right? Why wouldn't you sell up in this range and then buy a boatload of it down here? right? I can't just have all my money digital on a plastic phone for the rest of my life. My life needs to improve. So with this halving cycle coming that I expect us to really push, it's, this chart's claiming 500K. I doubt that. I see 120 to maybe 180. I hope I'm wrong. Come flame me for being wrong. We'll all celebrate together. But I'm going to pay off debts. I'm going to use that for other investments and keep rolling that money forward. Treat it like a paper towel. Wash my hands and throw it away. I'm not saying Bitcoin's bad. All coins are disgusting. I'll be in and out of those. They are toxic. Nibble, couple, thousand spread out here and there. Take it all, move it over to equities markets, fixed income, real estate, whatever that may be. But I'm going to be in this. It usually runs for about a year after the halving. We had, I can't remember in 2016 when the halving ran, but it ran for a little over a year, around a year and a half. And we had this halving back in May, right? And then all the way into May of, let's see if we can find it here. May of 2021, we were still running for well over a year. So you get about a year and a half run out of it. So we're heading into that. So basically you can expect it to go up for 2 years based off this, based off history. So it doesn't mean it can't, you're not going to be read at some point. But don't be the guy buying up here, okay? Also, don't be the guy that makes fun of it when it drops because you're sad that you missed out. If you guys want to discuss this more, you can join the Z-Trades Discord. The link is in the description of this video. And if you like this content, like and follow from